Welcome, 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 Cowboy fans and Cowboy haters alike. I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Let's talk facts. Man. The Dallas Cowboys cannot stay out of the media. And this is one of the problems for this team. I'm telling you, the media is one of the worst things about this team. There are all kinds of things going on. I mean, we're going to look at some of this stuff today. We kind of closed out on it last night. But there are so many other teams that need a coach that needs, they need a coach, they need a quarterback, they need all kinds of things. But why is it the Dallas Cowboys are always top of the morning, top of the list with everything that's going on? I mean, we got some absolutely great stories going on in the NFL. I mean, the Detroit Lions is an absolutely incredible story, to me at least, an incredible story that's going on in the NFL. And they're talking about the Dallas Cowboys. The Buffalo Bills, quietly, pretty good story going on in the NFL. Philadelphia has bounced back from last year. Good story in the NFL. I would dare say Minnesota Vikings, Washington Commanders, but I have a feeling they're going to come back to earth. Mike Tomlin, everybody said he was done. Mike Tomlin only has gone 7-2 with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. And I do think the dark horse for the Super Bowl in the AFC is going to be the Baltimore Ravens. But there are so many stories going on in the NFL. It's incredible. And they just can't leave the Dallas Cowboys alone. They can't leave the Dallas Cowboys alone. And this is one of the problems for this team. They are such media darlings. And I don't even know if we call them media darlings, but they are the affinity of the media. They're going to grab all the attention. And so now this story is floating around everywhere. It's floating around about Deion Sanders being the coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Now I'll say this. I'm going to start this off by saying, if this was a perfect world, if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. If this was a perfect situation, Deion Sanders would be the perfect coach for the Dallas Cowboys, I believe. I believe Deion Sanders would be the perfect coach because Deion Sanders is one of the only people I know. There are not many people like this. This is why some people in the comments, I don't know who this guy is. I mean, just because you say that he's the obvious choice doesn't mean he's going to be the choice, because this is probably a long shot. And with Jerry Jones, I don't know if necessarily a long shot. I think Jerry Jones, if you would let him, Jerry Jones would do pretty much whatever he could do to get Deion Sanders. But I'm going to give you some more logical issues that's going on with this discussion about Deion Sanders and why I think there are too many things that would have to occur for Deion Sanders to be the coach. But to say he's the obvious choice, I believe he is the obvious choice. And what I want to do before I get into this, I want to play a clip from ESPN. They were talking about this today, and I have to admit, I mean, some of the things they were saying, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this, but some of the things they were saying makes a lot of sense. And so I want to let you hear what they have to say, and then I'm going to tell you I'm going to give you my analysis of it. I agree with it, but then I'm going to tell you why I think it's just not going to happen. Let me make sure I get the right clip here. I was watching it this morning. I was like, man, this is interesting. I think this is the clip. Let's see. How's everybody doing this morning? I forgot to say see how everybody's doing. Appreciate everybody for coming in. Appreciate everybody for coming in this morning. Probably won't do an evening show. Got quite a few things to do. But if I do an evening show, it'll probably be late, and a lot of you guys will be in the bed, so you can catch it on the replay. But it'll probably be a late show today. But see if we can get some sound going on this thing here. Okay, hold on a second. Can't hear? Okay, hold on just a second. Okay, hold on just a second. I think I broke something yesterday. I got to fix it. Let me go to my backup screen here. All right, as I fix this, but the big talk is this thing about Deion Sanders. And like I said, in a perfect world, this would make sense. The problem is we're not talking about a perfect world. And I'm going to tell you some reasons why this is probably, I still say this is probably going to be a long shot. This is really going to be a long shot, if anything, as this is going to be a long shot, if anything, as it applies to the Cowboys being able to pick up on Deion Sanders. All right, as I fiddle with this, y'all give me just a moment. I think one of the things that's happening too is I think a lot of this talk, is simply because people are looking at the star power of Deion Sanders. They're looking at the star power of Deion Sanders because I noticed what's going on, Freddie? Freddie said, "No way, Jose. He does not want Deion Sanders to be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys." And I think one of the issues with Deion Sanders being the coach of the Dallas Cowboys is I think that you would really be I really think you would be dealing with, I think the Cowboys already got enough issues with all of the celebrity. That's one of the big problems of this team a lot of the celebrity stuff that they have going on. And because of a lot of the celebrity stuff that they have going on, I think Deion Sanders would be a huge problem for them because now he's going to bring even more attention to the team. And so then the problem becomes, is it about football? Does it become about football, or is it about Deion Sanders being the coach of the Dallas Cowboys? Y'all tell me what you think. But I think this issue with Deion Sanders, man, it has the potential. It could be good because, one thing about Deion Sanders, if people don't realize it, if you get Deion Sanders, whether people realize it or not, Deion Sanders is actually an excellent guy. I mean, Deion Sanders really is. So I think Deion Sanders, the thing about him, he's not going to come in and be the coach of your offense or the coach of your defense, which I think is a good thing. He's not going to be the coach of your offense or defense. And so Deion Sanders coming in, the thing that I do like about it, if he is that you wouldn't have to worry about you definitely wouldn't have to worry about him. You wouldn't have to worry about him being over the offense or the defense. He would actually bring in an offensive coordinator. He would actually have to. He would have to bring in an offensive coordinator. He would have to bring in an a defensive coordinator. So with Deion Sanders, he's done a good job. He's done a good job over the last couple of seasons. He's done a very good job, I believe, of bringing that team back. That's what a lot of people are giving him a lot of credit for. He's done a real good job of bringing that team back. But the question is, can he do that on the pro level? Because right now, he's not doing that, whether people are realizing it. Deion is not doing this yet on the biggest stage in college football. Colorado moved up, but Colorado is not on the biggest stage in college football. And that's the part that people need to be concerned with. Let me look at a couple of things here. Freddie, I'm glad Freddie said no. Freddie said absolutely not. Andre said he's not coming to Dallas. He does not want to coach for the Cowboys. You know what a lot of people don't realize, Andre? Deion Sanders has said this over and over and over. It's not the Cowboys he doesn't want to coach for in particular. Deion Sanders has kind of made it clear. He doesn't want to coach the pros. He doesn't want to coach. He doesn't want to coach professional football. He doesn't. And I think Deion doesn't want to coach professional football because I think Deion understands what comes along with coaching professional football. I mean, there are going to be a lot of egos. There are a lot of egos if you're coaching a professional football team. I mean, it's one thing when you're talking to kids. It's another thing when you're talking to grown men. And that's one of the things that Deion said he doesn't want to do. He wants to shape the lives. He wants to shape the lives of young people. He doesn't want to deal with professional athletes. That's what he said. That's what he said. And that's why I said if all things were perfect, I think that Deion Sanders would come coach the Cowboys. I think he would come coach the Cowboys. But I also think there's another issue with Deion Sanders coaching the Dallas Cowboys. I want y'all to think about this. I may not be able to get my screen up, so we'll just talk about it. I got a couple of articles that we're going to look at also that talks about this. But I want us to think about this. Deion Sanders hasn't coached anywhere without Shedeur Sanders. Deion Sanders has not coached without Shedeur Sanders. He has not coached, if I'm not mistaken, he has not coached without Shedeur or Shiloh Sanders. And to add to that, Travis Hunter has been with Deion for quite a while too. Travis Hunter has traveled with Deion. And so when you think about Deion Sanders, I mean, people need to understand, man, when you're talking about Deion Sanders, you also have to consider that he hasn't coached. He hasn't coached without those guys. And would he be willing to coach without them? Because I'm going to tell you what I'm very interested with Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders, my favorite athlete of all time, as far as football goes. I want to see what Shedeur looks like without Deion, and I want to see what Deion looks like without Shedeur. What do they look like without each other? Because they're connected, man. They got a connection. Father, son. Deion knows everything about his son, what makes him tick. He can talk to him on levels that most coaches probably couldn't. And so what does Shedeur look like without Deion? And what does Deion look like without Shedeur? Now, I was reading an article the other day where Shedeur had got a 5-star recruit to change his mind and come to the Colorado Buffaloes. Because I'm telling y'all, this is really going to be the test for Deion Sanders. And so has Deion really been tested? Has he really been tested? Is he really battle tested the way people the way people think he is? Because I think he has a lot more. I think there's a lot more that he has to do. Jay Recruiter said Deion would be a yes man. You don't want any former players. That includes Jason Witten. I think that's a great point. And, you know, I would be a lot more cool. Now, like I said, Deion's my favorite athlete in football of all time. I would be really good with this. But I got another problem. With this is, again, all of the fanfare that comes with Deion Sanders. All the fanfare that comes along with Deion Sanders. And you think about it. Y'all think that Micah Parsons is off the chain right now? Deion Sanders' son, Shedeur Sanders, has a podcast called Too Legendary during the football season. So you would have not one. Well, let me get to that part. It's not so much you'd have another podcast, because we'll talk about the Shedeur thing in a moment. But you got somebody who would not mind. They wouldn't mind if Micah Parsons has a podcast. And I think the reality of the situation is that there are a lot of people who want a coach to come in here and say, no more podcasts for Micah Parsons. I think there are some people who want that. And so Deion is a media darling too. Man, I don't know. You get Jerry Jones and Deion Sanders in the same room. I mean, I just remember what happened when Jerry signed Deion. Man, you talking about deja vu all over again. Man, I am telling you, the media attention around this team would be constant. They would be in the news. Because look at Colorado. Y'all know why Colorado likes Deion Sanders. One, he's winning. But he wasn't winning last year, and they still loved him. You know why Colorado loved him? There are more people enrolling at the school. They're getting all the TV attention. They're making a ton of money now on the TV, the enrollments, the sponsors. There are so many things that swirl around Colorado just based on Deion Sanders' name alone. And if Deion Sanders if Deion Sanders was not at Colorado, I can tell you right now, I wouldn't watch Colorado. I started watching Colorado because Deion Sanders. And when Deion Sanders is gone, I'm no longer going to watch Colorado. Keith Rivera said, I'm going to keep it 100. We all know that Jerry Wayne Jones is not going to hire a black coach to be his head coach. That includes primetime. Keith Rivera, I'm going to tell you something. Deion Sanders, I don't know. I think Jerry, I don't think he has a racist issue. At least I don't think he does. I mean, maybe you know something I don't know. But Jerry Jones loves him some Deion Sanders. Jerry Jones loves him some Deion Sanders. And I think if it was realistic that Jerry Jones could get Deion Sanders, man, Jerry loves all this attention. He loves it. I mean, you think about it. Mike McCarthy now, I'm telling y'all, you got to understand the psyche you have to be a member of the Dallas Cowboys. This is what you have to deal with as a coach of the Dallas Cowboys and as a quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm gonna bring the quarterback thing in a moment. But as a coach of the Dallas Cowboys, your contract isn't even up. And you got to finish the rest of this season. And you're watching your next replacement. Who's going to replace Mike McCarthy? Mike McCarthy needs to be replaced. Everywhere you look, you see that. This is what you have to deal with being a Dallas Cowboy coach. You always got to deal. You got to be one of these people. In actuality, you have to stay out of the media. You mean you're literally going to have to stay out of the media. You have to keep your phones off, your internet off, tell your children the same thing. But even then, people are always going to be talking. How do you watch television without seeing this stuff? I mean, this is what you got to deal with as a coach of the Cowboys. Same thing as a quarterback of the Cowboys. You got to hear how bad you were. If you're going to look at social media, you got to hear that every Sunday. I mean, every Monday. If you did great, you got to hear that stuff. And so Mike McCarthy hasn't even been fired yet. Or he can't be fired. He can be fired, but he hasn't even been let go yet. And so you're hearing all of this stuff swirling around. And I'm telling y'all, I love some Deion Sanders. I mean, I like Deion Sanders, man, but I'm going to tell you something. Deion Sanders roll up in Dallas and start losing. Y'all think this stuff is crazy now? This will be a nuclear bomb. What's up, Big Nacho? Welcome. I hadn't seen you before. Yeah, that's what I was mentioning before. See, I want to see what Deion looks like without Shedeur. Because something going to have to give. Deion Sanders is either going pro or Deion Sanders is going to have another quarterback next year. And I want to see what he looks like. I want to see exactly what he looks like. And I don't think that Shedeur and Shiloh and Hunter, they're not going to be a package deal. Deion Sanders' son, I think, said it best. I did a video on it a couple of months ago. Deion Sanders' son said it best. Deion Sanders Jr. Shedeur Sanders is not going to be a Dallas Cowboy. See, a lot of people are talking this nonsense. And I know there's no way. There's absolutely no way Shedeur Sanders is going to be a Dallas Cowboy. There's no way. The moment Jerry Jones signed Dak Prescott, that dream, whoever had that dream, absolutely done. Absolutely done. Shedeur Sanders is not coming to the Dallas Cowboys. But what I do believe, I am not going to be shocked if Shiloh Sanders is with the Dallas Cowboys. Because even Deion Sanders' own son said that on Too Legendary. He said the Cowboys got a quarterback. That was before they signed Dak. Well, now they've signed Dak. But he said, Shiloh, I think it's more likely that you're going to be a Dallas Cowboy. You know why? Because Shiloh is not going to be a top pick in the draft. Shiloh Sanders is not going to be a top pick in the draft. I think Shiloh is a very good player. He's not going to be a top player in the draft. I think he may be there, and the Cowboys aren't going to spend the top 3 draft on Shiloh. They're not going to do it. Shiloh will probably go in the 4th or the 5th. Somebody could take a chance in the 3rd. I seriously doubt it. I think Shiloh is probably going to go in the 4th or the 5th. And if he goes in the 5th, I could see the Dallas Cowboys doing whatever they have to do to get him. Because I think Jerry wants a part of the Sanders name. He does. I think he wants a part of the Sanders name. I mean, he really likes I'm telling y'all, if this was the perfect storm, Jerry Jones would absolutely get Shiloh Sanders. I was trying to see where his draft rank is. See, his overall rating, it just kind of tells you a few things right here. Let's see here. When you look at NFL Draft Buzz, he has a player rating of an 80, position 43, 40, 45. So when you kind of look at him and you kind of look at what they're kind of saying about him, he's good. I'm not even saying he's pretty good. Shiloh is actually good. The issue is, I don't think when you start talking about safeties, Shiloh is going to be in this range over here, for example. You look at the prospect safety rank. See, he's not even in the top 8. And we already know that when you start talking about the top of the draft, first round, second round, even these guys, maybe a couple of them, but all of them will not go in the first round. You're not going to see 8 safeties drafted in the first round. You probably won't see 8 safeties drafted in the first or second round. So Shiloh is probably going to fall around that 4th or 5th. And so I think that Jerry, if Shiloh is out there, I think he's going to get Shiloh. I am not going to be shocked. I'm not going to be shocked if Shiloh is a Dallas Cowboy. But as it pertains to okay, you said I have an echo? All right, I'm having some audio issues here. Hold on a second. I know what it is. Hold on a second. But again, as it applies to Shedeur Sanders, I think this is one of the issues, people have to understand. This is Shedeur Sanders is not going to come to the Dallas Cowboys. And I think Big Nacho, I think you're making a point here because that's the point I made earlier. I don't know if you heard me when I was saying it, but Deion has never coached without Shedeur, Shiloh, and I'm not sure where Travis came in, but Travis has been with him for a long time too. But he's not going to be able to get that deal in the pros. Now, I don't think it's false hope, Sky Hill, and rumors. It's not. If you're listening to what I'm telling you, I'm not dealing in rumors. I'm actually dealing in fact. That's why I keep saying, in a perfect world, it's not a perfect situation. It's not a perfect situation because also Deion is still under contract with the Colorado Buffaloes. And I'm sure that if he left the Colorado Buffaloes, he would owe them some money. But if Jerry could get him, I don't think whatever he owes the Colorado Buffaloes, Jerry would be able to pay it, would pay it if he thought he could get Deion Sanders. And I just don't think Deion, I mean, he said it out of his own mouth. Deion has said over and over and over, but even though Deion said it out of his own mouth, this is the same Deion who said he wasn't leaving Jackson State. Let me tell you something. I don't care what a man says. When folks start knocking on your door with money, it's a different conversation. It's a different conversation when folks start talking about money. And so we can do two things. We can take Deion at his word. And this is Deion's word right here. When Michael Irvin was talking about Deion coming to Dallas, Deion said, don't start that. I love it where I am. So we can take him at his word, where he says, I love it where I am. Or we can also remember, this is the same man who said he wasn't leaving Jackson State. And I think there was some issues at Jackson State. That probably made him leave. But at the same time, I'm not sure that if Jerry could throw the bank at him, that Deion wouldn't take it. But the problem is, I think Jerry would have to throw such a bank at Deion Sanders. Oh, man. If Deion didn't win a Super Bowl and the money that Jerry would have to throw at him to get him, man, it would be nothing but chaos. What's up, Spider-Man? He said, I think Deion's rare style works well in college, but I'm not sure it translates to the pros. I just know we need new blood as the head coaching job in Dallas. Now, let's talk about this thing, what I'm talking about, why I think that Deion Sanders would be the perfect coach in this respect. I think he would be the perfect coach in the respect of who else are you going to find that is so revered that Jerry would respect them, even if it was for a couple of seasons. If Jerry would respect them enough, like he did Jimmy, he would respect them enough that he would let them do their thing. See, that becomes the question. Who could you get with that type of cachet? Now, Deion Sanders is one of those guys. Bill Belichick is one of those guys. People keep saying the Bill Belichick thing is heating up. But I think when you start talking about these types of coaches, Deion and Bill Belichick, I just don't think they would want to coach for Jerry. I just don't think they would want to coach for Jerry. And that's the part I got a problem with. Jay Orman said, I don't know why the Cowboys got rid of Jalen Smith a few years back, like 3. I thought he was good, and they could have used him as a depth piece. He was good at interceptions, but maybe he wasn't that good anymore. Jalen Smith, isn't that the linebacker? I think we're talking about the linebacker who came from Notre Dame, and the Dallas Cowboys got him because he had the severe knee injury, right? Let me know if I'm wrong, Jay Army. With the character and culture of this team, we need a strong disciplinarian to start holding players accountable. Now, the question is going to be in all of this, Spider-Man, will Jerry Jones let him do that? And so that's another reason why, if you ever watch how Deion Sanders coaches his team, when Deion hit Colorado, Deion basically told, like, hey, y'all get in the trade portal. We about to redo this thing. In college, he has that control. He could bring on Shedeur. He could bring on Shiloh. He could bring on Travis. He could bring on all these other players that he's brought on. College is the recruiting game. Even though NIL has entered in, it's the recruiting game. Now recruiting and NIL, but it's the recruiting game. In college, you can promise the top recruits, hey man, come here. Come here, all eyes on you. All eyes on you, I can guarantee you I'm going to get you in the pros. Nick Saban used to be able to make that same promise to so many players. You come play for me, I'll get you national championships, and I guarantee you'll be playing on Sundays. Now, Deion Sanders, he can't promise you national championships, but he's got so much cachet. I mean, we watched him. We played as him on Madden football games. We're watching all the attention that he's getting. And Deion Sanders, in this next draft, the next 2 drafts, Deion Sanders is going to put a plethora of offensive players in the draft and a couple of defensive players. But he's going to put a plethora of offensive players in the draft. So Deion is going to be able to start making that kind of promise. You can't do that in the pros. Can't do it. You just can't do it. Sky Hill. Yeah, you're new to the channel. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, we already pretty much have conceded that we believe that Jerry is going to hire someone he knows also. And I think one of the people that's going to be at the top of the list, and I don't know, some people like this guy, but Kellen Moore. I will not be surprised if Jerry brings in Kellen Moore. My uncle said something to me on Sunday. He said, well, yes, men are hard to find. And I'm still, say what you want, I'm still not counting out Mike McCarthy until he packs up his stuff and exits the building. I'm still not counting him out because Jerry has gave every excuse of why he would bring back Mike McCarthy. It's my fault. He's been saying it. I didn't give him anything to work with. It's my fault. Jerry has been saying it. Jose says Jerry will probably get Belichick as a new coach. I'm gonna tell you this: he get Bill Belichick as a new coach. It's gonna be a new era in Dallas, or we're gonna watch a repeat of Bill Parcells. It's either that, or we're gonna watch a repeat of Bill Parcells. LaQueen says Mike Fisher put Jason Witten at the top of his list. Was number 7, I think. Man, let me tell you something. I don't think Jason Witten. And this is just my opinion. I just don't think Jason Witten is the right choice. I don't think he's the right choice. I think if you start talking about going with a first-year coach, this would be my same problem with Kellen Moore. You start talking about going with a first-year coach, no cachet, none. No cachet whatsoever. So do we think he's going to be able to do anything to fight Jerry Jones on anything? No. Nope. He's not. He's not going to be able to fight Jerry Jones on anything. He will be so glad to have the job. It'll be yes, 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 yes. You don't need a person like that. You don't need a person like that. Let's pull up here on Athlon the names discussed inside the Fish report with insightful information tagged to each one. And so this is what he has here. He has Bill Belichick, Joe Brady. Now this Brian Flores guy, let me tell you about Brian Flores. Brian Flores could be an awesome coach. He used to be the coach for the Miami Dolphins, if I'm not mistaken. And I didn't understand at first why they fired him. I didn't understand it. Man, you got to hear some of these stories that Tua Tagovailoa was telling about Brian Flores. I wouldn't want Brian Flores in Dallas. The stuff that man was saying to and about Tua Tagovailoa, you don't say that to a man. I would not want Brian Flores. He's a great defense coordinator, and I think as in X's and O's, he's great. But he's got some things to learn as it pertains to how you talk to players and how you treat players. Al Harris, not going to happen. I don't believe Al Harris is going to happen. Al Harris has already been a part of the regime. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me to choose somebody already on the staff, even though I think he would have some respect on the team. The problem with Al Harris is because he's, again, a brand new coach, guess who's going to put his coaching staff in? Jerry Jones is going to choose his coaching staff. First-time coach. You think he's going to push back on Jerry? You think he's going to push back on Jerry as it pertains to the draft of players, what he can do, what he wants to do? Al Harris would be a great promotion to defensive coordinator, I believe. but I don't think you're going to see Al Harris as a head coach. Not for Dallas anyway. Lane Kiffin, no. Cliff Kingsbury, offensive-minded, no. I think he would be good if you could pay him to come in and be your offensive coordinator. I don't think he's going to be good as your coach. Now, when you start getting about right here, this Ben Johnson kid is at the top of a lot of people's list. He's at the top of a lot of people's list. I just don't know if it's going to happen. Sky says, do you think Belichick wants any part of the circus down in Dallas? I think he does. But there have to be certain things put in place in order for him to do it. Bill has already expressed he wants to, just by how he's kind of talking, Sky. I think he's talking like he wants to do it. The problem is, the problem is all of the stipulations that will have to be put in. I just don't think Jerry's willing to go with it. And just like they were saying this morning about Deion Sanders, well, if Deion comes in, he could get some control from Jerry. How? Who gonna give it to him? Who's gonna give him the control, y'all? Because I don't believe that Jerry's gonna give him any control. I don't think Jerry's going to give him any control. And so when you start talking about who would Jerry give some control to, I don't think he would even give it to Deion. I think he would listen to Deion. I'm not sure he would give him any control. But with Bill's going to want some control, Sky. You already know that. Deion said he's not coaching grown men. That's what I said before. He's not coaching grown men with millions because grown men with millions have big egos. That's why he loved coaching college kids. Now, Keith Rivera, why is Deion saying what you just said? And I said the same thing earlier. You know why he's saying it? Because he was one of those grown men with egos. He was one of those grown men. He know full well what he dealing with. Full well. Knowing Jerry, he would probably make the wrong choices and draft somebody else. And this is going to be a big deal. I think I got the echo fixed. I think we got it fixed. No echo, right, y'all? Okay, cool. Okay, I'm behind. So, Mark Wilson says, don't fall for it. He's better in college. Yep. Helping youth, best place for him to be. Showing them how to be men. They don't want all those good players to go to CU. Yep. I'm agreeing with you. Lost in translation. Deion's not leaving. And if he is, it's not to the NFL. It's not going to be the NFL. If Deion leaves, Deion will go to another college program, I believe. Forget hiring coaches. Know this. For as long as Jerry remains GM, it doesn't matter who the coach is. The result will always be the same. I pointed that out yesterday, Sky. This is a Jerry Jones problem. Those young men are going to the NFL but different places, not a package deal. Yeah, they're going. Now, follow me on this, LaQueen. Shedeur Sanders, to me, Shedeur Sanders is totally out for the Dallas Cowboys. But the closer the Cowboys get to the top 5, I think they could get 2 of the 3. If they get in the top 5, I think there's a great possibility they get Travis Hunter. I think it's a great possibility they get Travis Hunter. Because when you look at the chart, now the one team that I could see maybe going for Travis Hunter could be the Jacksonville Jaguars. But I also think the Jacksonville Jaguars could be going for the kid that's the running back or one of those top wide receivers. The New York Giants, Deion Sanders has already expressed, I think this is the team he's talking about. At least I think it is. But Deion has already said for Shedeur Sanders, there will be no cold weather. The New York Giants, they're probably out. I don't know if Deion's going to have this kind of control, y'all, but this is just what he said. They don't want no cold weather teams. And if you think about cold weather teams, that means outdoor teams. New York Giants, outdoors. Tennessee Titans, outdoors, gets a little cold. Cleveland Browns, outdoors, gets cold. Boy, it definitely get cold up there. Shedeur, to me, is probably going to be the Las Vegas Raiders. And the reason being, Tom Brady is now, I think, 5% owner. Him and Deion Sanders have a great relationship. I think Deion Sanders trusts Tom Brady. And I think that the Las Vegas Raiders is going to be the team that more than likely gets Shedeur Sanders. Now, if I'm Jacksonville, New York, Tennessee, or Cleveland, well, especially if I'm Jacksonville, if the Jacksonville Jaguars or the New York Giants or the Tennessee Titans, if those three teams remain at the top of the list, and I think they probably will remain at the top of the list, I'm telling you what I'm doing if I'm those three teams and Deion Sanders has said what he said. Okay. Shedeur don't want to play for us? That's cool. Tell you what we're going to do. Las Vegas Raiders. Y'all want Deion? We want 2 number ones. I mean, y'all want Shedeur? 2 number ones. 2 number ones and a 2. I'm going to break the bank. Me, I'm different. I think the Chicago Bears made an error with Caleb Williams. Coaches are getting fired now, and here we go. This is the problem when you come into some of these types of programs. So now we don't know what's going on with what's going to be with Caleb Williams. But now it's looking like Jaden Daniels might have been, because some of the scouts were already saying it, they thought Jaden Daniels should have been the number 1 quarterback picked overall. So for me, if I would have been the Chicago Bears, when there are teams that want a quarterback as bad as teams wanted Caleb Williams, I'd have broke the bank on him. I'd have broke the bank on Caleb Williams. I would have got me multiple first-round draft picks because there were teams that were willing to mortgage their future for Caleb Williams. Nah. I'm breaking the bank on Caleb Williams. I'm going to get me 2 1s or 3 1s. I'm going to take somebody's entire draft and let them have Caleb Williams. Folk don't understand, man. When you start talking about top 5 quarterbacks, the drop-off between 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, I mean, people don't understand, man. The drop-off is not that big. It's just not that big. And when I look at the Chicago Bears record of 4-5, could they have been 4-5 right now with Justin Fields and 3 first-round draft picks under their belt? And now they could have said, now we're going to get Shedeur Sanders. Or whoever we want to get, we'll give up. We got 3 number ones. So we'll give up 2 of these number ones. We're going to jump to the front of the line. We're going to get Shedeur Sanders. So for me, I mean, you could break the bank and get you number 1 draft picks. You could break the bank and say, I'll just settle for a 2nd or 3rd round guy who's going to be really good. I mean, you could do so many different things. So many different things. And if I'm in this top spot and Deion's already saying he doesn't want his son playing in cold weather, guess what? I'm about to break the bank. I'm about to break the bank. Yeah, that's what I was saying, Lost in Translation podcast. JSU has some things going on. I remember him talking about the money with the ticket sales and stuff like that, just all kinds of crazy stuff. Lost in Translation, I'm telling you like I'm telling everybody else. I think there are a few coaches that Jerry Jones will break the bank for. And I think there are 2 coaches in particular. I don't think this 3rd guy, because the guy who I think the Cowboys should get as the coach is Ben Johnson. The Cowboys need to figure out a way to get Ben Johnson in the building. Ben Johnson is an offensive guru right now. They got Todd Monken, Kellen Moore. This is the one that scares me. Jerry loves Kellen Moore. Jerry absolutely loves Kellen Moore. That's the one that scares me. Because I think that Jerry might hire Kellen Moore. Lincoln Riley, Matt Nagy, no. Ron Rivera, no way, no how. Don't know who the Bobby Slowick guy is. Kirby Smart, I think Mark Vrabel could be a good pick. Jason Witten, no way, no how. I don't want anybody who's been in the building. I don't want anybody who's been in the building. Because anybody that's been in the building, y'all, I believe they would be a part of the problem because they wouldn't be able to contend with Jerry Jones. And I don't think we want that again. I don't think we want that again. But I'm telling y'all, do not discount that if Jerry can't get who he wants, I'm not, until Mike McCarthy packs his bags, I'm not believing it. I'm not believing it until he packs them bags up. When he packed them bags up, I believe it. Until he packed them bags up, yeah, that was issue with Jackson State. I'm not believing it. Deion said I have to at least entertain it. Of course he gonna entertain it. Jerry gonna throw the bag at him. I think Jerry would break the bank for Bill Belichick or Deion Sanders. Think he'd break the bank for him. Yeah. I thought that was Jalen Smith. Yeah. Man, let me tell you something. Jay Army, I don't know if you saw Jalen Smith in college. I don't know if you saw this man in college. But if Jalen Smith hadn't got that knee injury, Jalen Smith was on a whole nother level, man. I think Micah Parsons is I think he would be a great linebacker. Micah Parsons. Anybody go watch Jalen Smith tape at Notre Dame? He was different. Jalen Smith was different, man. Micah Parsons couldn't hold a candle, at least to me. Micah Parsons couldn't hold a candle to Jalen Smith. Go watch his tape pre-injury. This is the best way I can describe him. Y'all tell me what you think. Jalen Smith was a cross between Micah Parsons and Demarion Overshown. He was a cross between both of them. Boy, Jalen Smith getting to the ball, man. I still feel bad for him in that knee, because I'm telling you, Jalen Smith, man, boy, he was different. Deion built the best team, and that's the issue. Deion built the best team that money can buy. Going to a team with an owner that does not sign players or bring in free agents, he will struggle in Dallas. And this is why y'all might not realize this. I don't follow college football. What's going on, Cowboy politics? I don't follow college football, but I like Deion Sanders, so I follow Deion Sanders. But Nick Saban was salty about Deion coming to the college game, man. Nick Saban was salty. Nick Saban was salty because he knew Deion had two things now. Deion Sanders had more cachet than Nick Saban because he's Deion Sanders. Number two, Nick Saban is still capable of coaching. Nick Saban walked away because of the NIL stuff. Deion Sanders came in and took advantage of the NIL stuff. And I'm not saying it in a bad way. I mean, it is what it is. And I don't disagree. The players should have been getting paid. It's crazy they wasn't getting paid in the beginning. I mean, the NCAA making billions of dollars off their likeness, and they can't even make money off their own jersey sales. I mean, the NCAA making money off their likeness, TV commercials. I mean, you name it. They're getting rich off these kids. Talking about we're giving you an education. Did you bring me here for an education? The NCAA is one of the biggest scams out there. It's absolutely insane. We know doggone well these schools are not bringing in these players to play football and basketball. They're not bringing them in for that. If those students want to get an education, okay, cool. I'm not tripping on the education, y'all. I'm not tripping. No doggone well they're not bringing them players in for no education. Half of them, they got people doing their work for them. It's crazy. This team will eat Kellen Moore alive. Man, Dak Prescott, I'm not saying he needs a coach that's older than him, but he's already had Kellen Moore. Dak needs something a little bit different. Yeah, Joseph Football, they're talking crazy about Deion Sanders, boy. It's all the rage. Everybody talking about Deion come to the Cowboys, man. It's all the rage. Jerry's looking at the tight end coaching in Detroit and could probably copy and could potentially copy that. Boy, I wish he could copy anything in Detroit. Detroit need to be studied, Spider-Man. They need to be studied. When Deion says cue my music and it's not Dolly Parton, Jerry will lose his mind. Jerry likes to feed on desperation as well. But I'm telling y'all, the thing that I think about Deion Sanders, though, and this is why I'm very interested to see what Deion Sanders is going to look like next season. It's going to officially be the first time Shedeur Sanders was not his quarterback. And I think that's a huge deal. Lane Kiffin lost in translation? Okay. Nope. And Brian Flores, I'm going to tell you something. He'll never be a head coach in this league. He sued the NFL. Hadn't heard anything else about it. And I think a part of it is they blackballed him. Boy, but when you hear the stories, this man, Brian Flores was saying some stuff that was so out of bounds to Tua Tagovailoa, man. Nah, he don't need to be no head coach for nobody. Steve Sarkisian, but not going to happen. Nope. Belichick likes Dak. That's a plus. And you bring up an interesting point, Frederick Johnson. Y'all got to understand these college coaches. You got to throw the bag at them for them to come out of college. These guys got it made. I mean, they treat college coaches like royalty, man. These guys sign for millions of dollars, and they can just basically scoot around anywhere they want to. They can leave one school, go to another one. I mean, just millions and millions. Pay off one contract, get another big contract. I mean, they treat those coaches like royalty in college. It would be hard for any of them to leave. Spider-Man says, with Ben Johnson be as good as he is with the talent we have in Dallas, Ben is a product of a GM that's loaded his team. Man, Nisi not on here, but we always talk about this whole thing about GMs. And Jerry as the GM with Ben Johnson, let me tell y'all something. I've been saying it for the last couple of days. Ben Johnson did something that Eric Bieniemy, I don't know who his agent is, but Eric Bieniemy was not smart enough to do. Ben Johnson said, I'm not going nowhere until I get exactly what I want. And he's not going to go to college. He's not going to go to college. He's going to sit on the Detroit Lions on a great team. He's going to continue to win. And if they mess around, and I'm telling y'all, I said it yesterday, if the Detroit Lions if they do not go to the Super Bowl, somebody need to be fired. Jared Goff got so many weapons around him. I'm talking from players to the coaches to the GM. When you put that many players, you put Dak Prescott in that situation and Dak Prescott fails, then I'm gonna start having some things to say about Dak Prescott that ain't gonna be pretty. Jared Goff is surrounded, owner, GM, coaches, both sides of the ball, head coach. I mean, players, running back, wide receiver, defense, offense, tight ends. If this man don't go to the Super Bowl, if they don't go to the Super Bowl, it's a travesty. It's an absolute travesty. And that's why Ben Johnson, they get that bowl game this year. Frederick, 15 ain't nothing. Ben Johnson going for 20. Going for 20. Ben Johnson going for 20 million. I guarantee he gonna try to get 20. Ben gonna try to get 20 million because I really wasn't paying attention to him last year. But he's the guy he had the Washington job in his hand. He want the money. He ain't going nowhere unless he can make sure he gonna get the money and but I think he probably should have took the Washington job. They got so much draft capital. Look at what Dan Quinn doing. Deion isn't going to make a difference. Trust that. Jerry Jones is the boss, not Deion. But see, that's the problem right there. That's the problem. Whoever becomes the coach of this team, Jerry's going to have to get out of the way. If Jerry's not going to get out of the way, it don't matter who we bring in. It don't matter who we bring in. Dave Campbell would make a great coach. No nonsense. Dave Campbell, help me out. Jimmy Johnson can be interim coach. He's already on the advisory board. Man, let me tell you something. Jimmy Johnson don't want no more parts of coaching. He don't want no more parts of it. Mike McCarthy is one of the lowest paid coaches in the league. Frederick Johnson, I hate to do it. I keep talking out of both sides of my mouth on Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy has said a couple things this season I agree with. Mike McCarthy has said that you do not draft for need. You should be drafting to develop players. He destroyed Jerry Jones. He also said that all the players should be in camp in April and be there the whole spring training, be there the whole training camp, so that in September, it's the best opportunity to win. You get off to a great start. I agree with him. He said you have to run the ball. I agree with him. He said about Michael Parsons just yesterday, don't say things on your podcast that other people have to answer for. We talked about it last night. Michael Parsons needs to mind his business. Stop talking about any subject matter to where someone else on the team now has to be questioned about your antics. I think Mike McCarthy has been a victim of Jerry Jones trying to be in control. That's why Ezekiel Elliott is on his team. I'm starting to question of maybe this is why. I just can't believe this is why he isn't running, because that was the problem he had in Green Bay. And the problem I have with Mike McCarthy, I keep saying the same thing. Mike will not control the part that he can control, and that's the play calling. And that's one of the biggest failures of this team, even this year. I want Jimmy Horn Jr. if we can't get none of them. Woo! Man, people do not understand that Colorado depth chart. And while Deion Sanders, I think Shedeur Sanders is a good, don't even let me say good. Shedeur Sanders is a great quarterback. Shedeur Sanders is highly skilled, very highly skilled. But even the most highly skilled quarterback needs weapons. And I'm concerned that when he gets to the pros, he might not have those, he won't have those weapons. Lost in translation, Vegas. You talking about when I said Shedeur going to the Vegas Raiders? I think that's where he's going. The Raiders probably want to get Shedeur. I think that's where he's going. I think he's going to the Las Vegas Raiders because Tom Brady and Shedeur have worked out together. They got a pretty good relationship. Deion and Tom Brady got a real good relationship. I guarantee you the Raiders are going to try to get Shedeur Sanders. They are. Jerry Jones has made his Cowboys teams to become the fig tree that Jesus cursed because it looked fruitful but it had no fruits. I love it. Yes, sir. Coaches need to make Jerry and Steven desperate. This is Heavy Chevy. What's going on? Oh, okay, I got you. Okay, this is your channel, Cowboy Politics. Okay, I'm going to make sure I check it out. What's going on, Lord? I'm telling this man, Jerry loves all this Deion Sanders talk, though. It just brings more attention to the team. That's why both of them are doing commercials with that Doug Affleck. Yep. Detroit got them Bama boys. Yep, they do. College football is different, no doubt. And that's why another reason why I think Deion don't want to leave it. Man, I'm telling you, man, these doggone college coaches, boy, people do not understand. They treat these people like royalty. And the control they have of who they can get, man, you don't get that in the pros, of course. Scott says, I agree, a head coach can criticize a player, but not the extent of what he did to Tua. Nobody should be talked down like that Brian F. did to Tua. Man, hey Scott, man. And that's why I don't even know if this lawsuit is going anywhere because, boy, when Tua revealed that, I understand why they got rid of him, man. I understand it totally. Coach Prime coming to Dallas. I don't think so, Danny. I don't think so. Jerry will have to break the bank for Deion or Ben Johnson. You better believe he is. And I don't know if he'll break it for Ben, but I know he'll break it for Deion. Jerry will probably get Kellen Moore. Man, I'm telling you, that's what I'm afraid of. I just don't think you need to bring in somebody who's been in the building. I just don't. Kellen Moore will be catering to everything Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones would love a Kellen Moore because he would be a yes man. First time coach, he'd be a yes man. I have changed my stance on Jerry being a great owner. A great owner will not have a GM that is bad without firing him. Boy, I know Spider-Man. I've been saying the same thing, man. You can be a great owner, but you got to get some stars knocked off. I mean, you're a 5-star owner, but I got to knock off about 2.5 stars because you won't fire you and your son as the GM and CFO or whatever y'all call your player personnel. Detroit did a great job taking advantage of getting them picks. Yep. It needs to be studied. We had years on Dak's watch, should have at least had a playoff run. And the problem is we got to the playoffs, didn't get the playoff run. And even when you think about Mike McCarthy, minus that one Super Bowl, this is kind of Mike McCarthy's MO. He'll amass a lot of wins. One Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. It's ludicrous when you think about it. Tired Cowboy fans. Can you imagine Dak with Amon-Ra, Jameson Williams, David Montgomery, Jameer Gibbs, and Sam Laporta? He led the league in touchdowns with only CD, Ferg, and Cooks last season. Think about that. Man, tired, I'm telling you. As we used to say in the hood, I ain't saying it straight up. I'm saying it straight up. I'm saying it straight up with a C. If the Detroit Lions do not go to the Super Bowl, it's an absolute travesty. That team is unequivocally loaded. I just don't know. I mean, it's not the super teams of the pre-salary cap era, but it's doggone close. It's doggone close. And I'm telling you, that's why I keep telling folk, I'm not going to make it the Dak discussion. I'm going to make it the Jared Goff discussion. You don't need a great quarterback to win the Super Bowl. You need a team to win the Super Bowl. Ask Russell Wilson. You need a team. In particular, when you got a defense, when you have a defense where your quarterback can throw 5 interceptions and you still win that game, I want to be the quarterback on that team. I want to be the quarterback on that team. Because you're basically telling me, man, at my lowest, I don't care if I'm having the worst game of my career. I don't care if I'm having I don't know if I'm having a Cooper Rush 45-yard game. But let's just say I'm Dak Prescott. I forced the ball to CeeDee Lamb in that Green Bay Packer game. I threw a couple of interceptions. And I got a defense that comes to me on the sideline and say, Dak, don't worry about it. We got you. You throw a 3rd interception, a 4th interception. They run over you. Hey, don't worry about it. We got you. We got you. You throw a 5th interception and the team don't collapse. The team don't say you suck. The team don't say you're sorry. You throw 5 interceptions and the defense say, don't worry about it. We got you. The Houston Texans won't score another point. We got you. Coach says, you're not having a good day. We're going to hand the ball off. We're going to set you back up for the pass. We're going to hand the ball off. When you got a defense, when you got a team like that, I want to play quarterback on that team. I want to play quarterback on that team because I'm telling you, man, when you got a team, that's complimentary football. People think complimentary football, as I've been saying, is when the offense, defense, and the special teams on all cylinders. Yeah, that's great. But what if the defense is not on all cylinders? Can the offense say, hey, we got you. We're gonna take up some of the slack? Can the defense say, you threw 5 interceptions, we're going to take up some of the slack? Can you do that? That's complimentary football. Amtrak Niner says, my guy, why would he leave to go to the Cowboys when everybody know his next and real destination is Florida State? Oh, you talking about Deion? Ah, interesting. Okay, interesting. He did it, and he did it in basically 12 games. Roberta, what's going on? The Lions. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. This thing with the Deion Sanders stuff, I'm not giving it any kind of validity. I mean, I think in a perfect storm, it'd be the perfect choice. I just don't give it any validity. I don't. And we have to understand something, and this is my concern about Shedeur Sanders. My concern about Shedeur Sanders. One, if you go top in the draft, you're more than likely going to a bad team. What will that team's offensive line look like? What will the weapons look like in the first couple of years? See, in college football is different. You can literally build an entire super team in college in one season. One season. You got the NIL money. You get a coach with a good reputation. I mean, you can only imagine what it's like for Deion Sanders to sit in your living room and tell your mother or father or tell a kid or tell a kid's parents who watched him on television, hey, I want your son to play for me. Okay, recruiting is done. Let's eat. I mean, you can literally build. I mean, Nick Saban owned college football before NIL. He owned it. I mean, Clemson came along and started, and then Georgia came along and started saying, "Oh no, we're gonna do some things too." But Nick Saban owned college football for a long time. He could literally sit in someone's living room and say, "Hey, your son has the talent to be playing on Sunday, and if you let him play for me, I promise you in 3 seasons, you'll be living in the house of your dreams." He could do that. You can build a super team in college in a season. In the pros, it typically takes about 2 to 3. 2 to 3. I think with the Cowboys, it'll probably take about, I think we'll see a better season next year, and then we'll see a super season the year after, depending upon how Jerry drafts and depending upon who does he bring in. But the Dallas Cowboys still got some potential there. But I want you to look at, because a lot of people were talking about Shedeur Sanders to the Dallas Cowboys. Man, DeJuan, would that not be crazy? It would be crazy to see. Let me pull this picture up. I was looking at it this morning. Looking at this picture this morning, man, and I can remember this. I'm showing my age, but I can remember this. Let me see if I can freeze it. Hold on a second. They made it disappear. Hold on. I was looking at this picture this morning, and I was thinking to myself, how crazy would this be? I'm just going to pull it up from the side because if you do, it goes to a video. But I want y'all to look at this picture right here. Could you imagine this? This is 28 years ago, I think. Maybe 29. This is Deion Sanders signing with the Dallas Cowboys. Could you imagine them recreating this picture 29 years later and Deion now signing with the Dallas Cowboys? How crazy would that be? Let me tell you something. The 3 and 4 letter networks, the 3 and 4 letter networks will lose their mind. I was looking at Dak Prescott's contract because a lot of people have been talking about this thing about Shedeur Sanders coming to the Dallas Cowboys. And Dak Prescott has a very interesting contract. Very interesting contract. It's a guaranteed $231 million deal is what it is. And so Dak's base salary for 2024 is $1 million. So they prorated the signing bonus, $29 million. They restructured his deal, $12.9 million. And they fixed it to where Dak's cap hit this season is $43 million. Now, here's the problem with Dak Prescott's contract. Here's the problem. It says right here, the Cowboys have a potential out of 2028. They could basically cut Dak Prescott, and they could save $34 million, right? But here's the question. So when you go to 2025, Dak's base salary jumps to $47 million. His prorated signing bonus, $29 million. His restructure, $12.9 million. Dak Prescott's cap hit in 2025 is basically $90 million. I got news for everybody. Dak Prescott is going to retire a Dallas Cowboy, I believe. I believe that Dak Prescott is literally going to retire a Dallas Cowboy. Because if Dak Prescott stays healthy, and he's getting surgery right now, and I mean, let's see, today's Wednesday. He's had surgery this morning. So Dak stays healthy after this. We know he's going to be here 25, 26, 27. But there's something else that I know, too. And this is why I know that Shedeur Sanders is not coming here. And that's another reason why I know, too, that Deion is definitely not coming here. There is no way the Dallas Cowboys are going to allow Dak Prescott's contract to stay like this. There's no way. This deal is absolutely massive. It is. There is no possible way for the Cowboys to get from up under Dak's contract. None. They can kick money down the road all they want to. You see all these void years right here? All these void years? See, these void years is how they figured out. See, it used to be 1 void year. Used to be 2 void years. Now we've jumped to what? 4 void years. 4 void years we've jumped to now. So they're basically saying in this area, they can still click these buttons so they'll be paying Dak Prescott all the way through 2032. I think if Dak Prescott is still playing good in 2027, Dak Prescott's probably going to be here through 2029, 2030. Dak Prescott will probably be 36, 37, 38 years old, whatever the case may be, if he keeps his body together playing for the Dallas Cowboys, probably playing on some kind of insane discounted deal. But I thought about this the other day too. If you also look at this contract, it's also set up to where if the salary cap continues to go up and they just say we're just going to take these hits and then we're going to cut Dak Prescott, in 2020 at the end of the 2027 year. Dak Prescott will be 34 years old. And if Dak Prescott is still healthy, Dak Prescott gets to hit the lottery again. Shedeur Sanders is not coming to Dallas for anybody who has any hope. He's not coming. He's not coming here, man. And so people need to get that stuff out of their mind. Because Deion said something I thought was very telling. He said every move he's made for his babies. That's what he calls his sons and his daughter, his babies. But he's talking about his football babies. And so I would believe that if he went to the pros, it would have to be for his babies. He's only going to Dallas, big money, Shiloh, Travis Hunter. I would be shocked if he went there without one of those 3 players. He ain't going with Shedeur, so we can knock him off the thing. Shedeur, I believe, is going to the Las Vegas Raiders. Law says I had that exact same hat Deion has on. Boy, that boy Deion was doing it back in them days. That would be legendary. Shedeur could recreate that picture with the same outfit. Boy, I bet you if he did get signed by the Cowboys, he would put that same outfit on. Lost in translation. There it is. You hit it on the head. Dak ain't leaving the Cowboys. And you know what I heard? I don't know. I wish I could do. I want to know where they got it from. But this guy, Todd Francis, man, let me tell y'all something. Every athlete in the NFL should be getting Todd Francis. You know what I heard? That if Dak Prescott got injured, not his 2025 salary, y'all, not his 2026 salary, y'all. Someone said that if Dak got injured in his contract, his 2027 salary is guaranteed. So what that tell you about 25 and 26? Golly. Man, short of injury, Dak Prescott gonna be a Cowboy for life. He gonna be a Cowboy for life. What's going on, Jeanette? You gonna be a Cowboy for life. It's crazy. Now, Papa J, man, I can tell you right now who my starting quarterback is. It's Trey Lance. But Jerry Jones don't want to start Trey Lance. Not anymore. Jerry Jones saw how Trey Lance looked different in that game to me, Trey Lance looked different than everybody on the field. Everybody else was out there playing for next year. Trey Lance was playing for right now, saying, I'm putting on the highlight reel. Trey Lance had a different sense of urgency. Jerry said, no, we're not risking this. We're not risking losing. We're not risking winning the game. That's why you're going to go Cooper Rush. But, boy, I'm going to tell you something. The football gods have been dealing with Jerry Jones in ways this year that it's hard to understand. Because I'm going to show you what we looked at last night that's absolutely funny and if it's true or not. Spider-Man says Dallas cannot undervalue the running back position in this year's draft. They have to. What's his name, y'all? Ashton Genty? That his name? Boise State? I'm sorry. We can mark off number 3. Shedeur Sanders is not coming to the Dallas Cowboys. When you look at Dak Prescott's contract, there's always these people talking about, yeah, they need to get, just get from under Dak's contract. You're not getting from under Dak's contract. That's over with. If I got to choose between Travis Hunter and Ashton Genty, Man. Y'all tell me what you think. I just don't think the Cowboys should make this mistake again. If you get an opportunity at Ashton Genty, I would be okay. I like Travis Hunter. I would be okay getting me another cornerback. I think you can find another cornerback in the draft if you want him for cornerback. If you want him for wide receiver, I think there are better receivers than Travis Hunter in this draft right now. Right now, better. But if you're going to bring him in as a hybrid player, you're going to play all corner and some offense. Because there's no way Travis Hunter lasts at 185 pounds in the pros going both ways every single play. He'll be done by midseason in the pros because these boys ain't playing in the pros. He grown men. I mean, you ain't playing with that dude who got a chemistry set in his room no more. I mean, you're not playing with the kid who going to school to be a lawyer and he really don't care about football. I mean, because he's not really playing the top tier talent in college right now. Boy, you go to the pros, it's a whole different ball game. So for me, I just don't think you can pass up Ashton Genty. I don't. I just don't think you can pass him up. And I'm really concerned that if the Cowboys really want Ashton Genty, I mean, what do you do? Because Can anybody else pass up Ashton Jeanty? I mean, unless the Cowboys find a way to weasel their way into the top 5. I just don't think Ashton Jeanty is going to be there below 5. I mean, if I'm Jacksonville, I got Trevor Lawrence. You want to make Trevor Lawrence's life easy? Ashton Jeanty. New York Giants, you can't get Ashton Jeanty. You got to get a quarterback. Tennessee Titans, you can't get Ashton Jeanty. You got to get a quarterback. Cleveland Browns, I could see them getting Ashton Jeanty. I mean, they got to make something with Deshaun Watson. I mean, he's going to be on the last year of that. By the time they see him again, he'll be on the last year and a half of that deal. I mean, I just don't think they can pass up Ashton Jeanty. But I think the Cowboys got to find a way to weasel their way into the 6 to that 6 spot, because once you get past 5, Jeanty ain't going to stay on that board. I'll be shocked if Jeanty, y'all tell me what you think, but if Jeanty gets past 5 with the teams I'm looking at right now, Miami's probably wouldn't do it, but these other teams, man, I'm shocked if Jeanty gets past 5. And I think Jerry Jones, while he's letting Cooper Rush start the remainder of the season, is that Jerry Jones is trying to weasel his way into that top 5. Because I think these other teams, I think the New Orleans Saints, they're going to try to get in there. It's tank season for them. I don't think the New England Patriots, I don't think that coach is going to do that. I think he's going to try to win. I think the Jets are going to still try to win. They're playing for, that coach is playing for a job. He wants to be the coach. I'm sure he wants to be the coach. So he's going to try to win. Carolina is tank season. And then you got the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry going to try to weasel his way in, y'all. Jerry is going to try and weasel his way into that top 10. He is. But if Ashton Jeanty, if the Cowboys can get Ashton Jeanty, I just don't see how you turn it down. I just can't see how you turn Ashton Jeanty down. Now, I'm going to start paying attention a little bit more to college football as time goes on, because if I'm not mistaken, I'm hearing people say that there are some other running backs that are pretty good. But if you look at the top 10, if it's me, I want a top 10 running back. And if I'm not going to get a top 10 running back, it's this guy right here. This guy McMillan for Auburn. Absolute beast. Him. And really for me, because, you know, I've told y'all before, I'm very biased. I want the bigger wide receivers. I could go with this guy from Ohio State, this Amika kid. He's a 4.3 40 guy, even though these 4.3 40 guys haven't seemed to pan out. But he's 6'1", 205. Right at the limit for me for wide receivers. But for me, if I'm Jerry, this is the kid right here I'm bringing in. I'm bringing in McMillan. Because if I bring in McMillan, then, because if I don't get Jeanty, I bring in McMillan. I don't need a Jeanty if I got McMillan, and maybe I can get me a running back in the 3rd round. But I'm getting this kid, McMillan kid, if I'm on the board. I'm not letting this kid get away. But the draft is going to be very interesting. We're going to be talking about that more as we go. But as it pertains to this whole thing about Deion Sanders, y'all, we just got to be 100% real. This is all media hype. And Jerry Jones has probably got something to do with some of this media hype, because that's basically who Jerry Jones is. He loves all this stuff. But the grand scheme of things, I just don't think the Cowboys are going to get, I just don't think they're going to be able to get Deion Sanders to come to Dallas. I mean, because at the end of the day, I mean, I'm just thinking about myself. I mean, why would I want to come to Dallas? Jerry would have to make me so many promises to come to Dallas. It would literally be insane. It would literally be insane. The offer would be insane for me to come to Dallas. Mike Fisher is still reporting on this, and you know he's saying the same thing again. Sanders keeps saying he has no ambition to coach in the NFL. See, I don't think it's the Dallas Cowboys that Deion Sanders doesn't want to coach for. I just don't think he wants to coach the NFL. I don't. I just think he thinks there's too many problems. He says, I have a problem with men getting their checks and not doing their jobs. Now, let me translate what Deion is saying. He said, I would be too tough as a coach in the NFL because I still have those old school attributes. Let me translate what Deion just said. Deion just said I'd have to put foots. I'd have to put foots in people. I wouldn't be putting up with this. I wouldn't. I wouldn't be putting up with this. He'd have a serious problem with it. Nope, they can't undervalue it. Tolbert is not the answer. I thought he could be. He's not. If they don't put a salary cap on the quarterback, that contract will be mid-level by 2027. Yep, still a big bump. But I think what the Cowboys are going to do, they're going to flip that switch on Dak Prescott's contract. They're going to free up $100 million. They're going to flip that switch on CeeDee Lamb's contract. They're going to have $100 million. They already got it built in. They're going to flip those switches, and Dak Prescott ain't going nowhere. Trey Lance started quarterback. Man, I wish he would be, but they've already announced Cooper Rush is going to be the quarterback. And I guarantee you, they're not going to let Will Grier see that field unless there's an injury, because I think of those three quarterbacks, Will Grier does give the Cowboys a chance to win because he got legs and he got the arm. He's not as good as Trey Lance, but he's got some legs. He's better than Cooper Rush. And so you put that together, Will Grier would be a problem, but they're not going to let him touch that field. Dak took Romo's job off an injury. It's nothing but karma. Well, the problem is there's not going to be anybody that's going to take Dak's job. There's not going to be anybody to take Dak's job because they don't have the quarterback that can do it. And I promise you, they're not letting Dak Prescott sit on the bench with that number I just showed you. You're not letting a $231 million sit on the bench. Roberta said, wow, if only I was younger. They're not letting him sit on the bench. Todd Francis made Jerry and Steven desperate. They do not like those top agents. They can't just talk their way out of it. Yep, they can't do it. That's why the best player on the Cowboys right now is the kicker, and that's why Brandon Aubrey signed. Yep. Better get ready. Oh, you talking about Ashton Chinty if you was younger. This season is a perfect opportunity for Trey to get experience and become a great backup quarterback, if not a starting quarterback, if things don't work out with Dak. You know what? And I think this is what they're doing with Trey Lance. I think they kind of saw what he did in this game, and now all of a sudden they started pulling back on Trey Lance playing. Now it's going to be more of these packages, and I won't be surprised if those packages be far and in between. But I don't think he's going to be the backup quarterback for the Cowboys, and I don't want him to be. Trey Lance should not be the backup quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys taking peanuts. Don't do it. Do not do it. No. Put on a tape, get you an opportunity to be on another team and start. The Cowboys will draft the right guard and all the skilled players after that. Wide receiver, running back. Well, I'll tell you this, lost in translation. If they do that, please hit on it this time. When you draft linemen in the top of the draft, man, they got to come in kicking butt and taking names. They haven't done that in a while. Now, BB has been good. Good to great at times. Tyler Guyton, very bipolar. If it's a straight ahead rush, Guyton's been good. Anytime there's a move, Guyton's been terrible. If we draft a running back, then you have to be willing to bring in a free agent because the life of a running back's career is not long. Yep. I'll be honest with you. I think Jerry Jones is going to shock everybody this year. I think Jerry Jones is going to do something in free agency. And the reason why I think he's going to do it is I think that's the only way he gets a coach in here. What coach other than Kellen Moore is coming in here with the mess Jerry is doing? I'm not doing it. Jerry would have to make me some serious promises. I'm just not doing it. Oh, you said you hope you don't take it. Help the Cowboys. You talking about Deion Sanders? He's gone. Okay, who are we talking about gone? I'm lost in the thing. Macmillan is from Arizona. The media needs Dallas good or bad. That's why they're still talking about him. Ryan Williams is going to be a number 1 running back draft pick when he's eligible. Deion Sanders would be a great defensive would be a great DC. Deion ain't gonna be nobody's DC though. Cooper Mush. That Trey Lance package wasn't it, man. If you call the read option a Cooper Rush package, shame on you. This is crazy. I think Hassan Richards took Guyton's job based on last week. Man, hold on a second. Everybody is talking about who is this Hassan Richards guy. A lot of people have been talking about it like, who is this guy? So Cowboys may have found something. They may have found a great player on accident. They may have found a great player on accident. And this is why, for me, if I was the Cowboys right now, I would only be playing the young guys. I wouldn't be playing any of these. I wouldn't be playing any of these veterans. I wouldn't. I would literally be allowing, here it is right here. Dallas Cowboys left tackle Hassan Richards stepped in for the injured Tyler Guyton and put forth a solid display. Stepping in for the injured Guyton, Richards' name was barely heard on the telecast, and for a lineman, that's exactly what you want. There were no penalties that put the offense behind the sticks, and in pass protection per PFF, Richards posted the second highest grade behind Tyler Smith. And his efforts against the Eagles didn't go unnoticed. I thought he did a really good job, offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer said. Anytime you have a young player, especially a left tackle, against a good pass rush team, and when you're looking at the still photos and the surfaces, you're not feeling issues and problems, it's a real good thing. Talented young player, great versatility, uses length, and I thought he did a nice job. Guess what? Move Tyler Guyton to right tackle. Move him to right tackle. Move him to right tackle, right guard. Move him to the right. The Dallas Cowboys, y'all probably already know this. Steele is going to be a post-June 1st cut. Cowboys are going to cut Steele. Terrence Steele has been, and I think one of the problems with Terrence Steele, if I'm not mistaken, is he not coming off of a knee injury? Terrence Steele has not been right since last year. And I got a feeling that they're not going to have no patience with Terrence Steele and they're going to cut him. And they can save $13 million if I'm not mistaken. Appreciate you, Papa J. I'm gonna get my sound fixed back up, and then we're gonna. I better show my videos. I think I hit something and messed up something yesterday. Jerry might mess around and drop the first round tackle again. Man, I would just really like a skill position guy. I think the Cowboys, what they should do right now, I think they missed a golden opportunity with Zach Martin. I mean, there's been some talk that Zach Martin is not going to retire. He's just going to leave the Cowboys. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing he's going to leave the Cowboys, and I don't think he's going to leave. I just don't think they're going to re-sign him. They're not going to re-sign him. And so I think what they should be doing right now is take everyone who they have right now and start seeing what would the line look like constructed with the young guys. See what it looks like. Why not? You don't have to worry about getting your starting quarterback hurt no more. Put Trey Lance back there. He won't get hurt. He can run away from the pressure. Put your young guys in. Richards should have this year, but Guyton was the number 1 pick, so they had to start him. Also, Richards got to learn behind Tyron. Yeah. Yep. Plus, he's gotten bigger and stronger. Construct this line right now and see what you got so you'll know what you're doing in the draft. Asim Richards was drafted out of North Carolina in 2020. Man, looks like they may have found a diamond in the rough. Yep, they're going to cut Steele. He's going to be a post-June 1st cut, I think, and they're going to save $13 million on him. That's how they're going to get to $100 million. They're going to flip Dak, flip CD, cut Steele. Duke Manyweather said the Steele is fine, but they are teaching him something different. Okay, we'll see how it goes. But with that contract, you're going to save $13 million? I don't believe it. I believe they're going to cut him. The trenches need to be upgraded in free agency. No doubt, this draft will be BPA for sure. Let's go BPA. Hit me with that acronym. Asim Richards, his name, however, is announced. Awesome. Oh, Awesome Richards. Oh, I like that. Okay. Awesome Richards. Appreciate you, Lewis. Wish we were using Deuce more. Watch what I tell y'all. There are 2 players from the Dallas Cowboys. In 2 to 3 years, I believe we're going to hear about them being stars on other teams. Deuce Vaughn and Hunter Lipke. Oh, gotcha. Thank you, Spider-Man. Yeah, best player available. Because if they go ahead and start constructing the line, Heavy Chevy Cowboys Politics, y'all go subscribe to this channel. If they start constructing the line and see what they have now, then they can go in the draft and say, okay, now we can do some skill positions. And if we're going to do the line, we can draft further down the draft. I have a feeling the Cowboys are going to get a 4th-round draft pick again. Jerry was on the phone, and I don't think Jerry did this on accident. When we listened to his last phone call, Jerry said, yeah, you could get 2 4th-rounders for that. I don't know if you heard it. And so it makes me wonder, well, who team was he? What team was he talking about? And the same, I'm pretty sure he's talking about his own team. So, well, Jerry is not going to call it the tank party, let's say. Welcome to the channel. Jerry is going to call it there's still a chance. And the reality is it's organic tanking. I call it playing demolition. They're imploding the team from the inside out rather than the outside in. But the explosion has happened rather than the implosion because the injuries. The injuries have been crazy, so now it's exploding. I've said it on my channel that this O-line will be rebuilt in 2 years. It has happened. BB, Guyton, Hoffman, Richards, and Bass. Yep. And that's who I think they need to be playing. I would give Zach Martin, hey, man. I mean, do you really want to play? This is why I think they should have traded him. Should have traded him. I don't understand why they didn't do more trading. They already have, if I'm not mistaken, the Dallas Cowboys have 10 draft picks going into the draft this coming season. But there were so many players the Cowboys could have traded. I mean, I don't care if you're getting 5th and 6th rounders for them. Trade them. They're doing nothing for you this season. Trade all of them. Trade them. Bring in guys from the practice squad. Get guys off the streets to fill in those positions as backups because you got the guys that can play already for the guys you would have traded. Bring in guys off the practice squads, off the streets, and let them be the backups. I don't understand. They missed a golden opportunity at this trade deadline. I don't think they like 4th-round draft picks. They just give away 4th-round draft picks like they're 9th-round draft picks. It's crazy. Oh, yeah, Tyler Smith. Yep, Tyler Smith. So I think we're going to kind of dead the talk. I just don't understand. I mean, I understand people need something to talk about, but the Deion Sanders talk, guys, I believe it when I see it. Yep, Cowboys politics could have traded one or both of them. I don't understand the Marquise Bell thing. We're going to mess around. Marquise Bell going to be on another team being a superstar. Watch this. I will not be surprised if we see Marquise Bell on the Washington Commanders. kid can play. I don't understand why we haven't been playing him. Our safeties are not playing well. They're just not playing well. So, the Deion Sanders stuff, we might as well stop talking about that. I mean, it's fun. I think it's fun to talk about, but I don't think it's going to happen. Appreciate you, Lasay. I just subscribed to your channel. What do you think about Deion as our next coach? Yeah, that's what we talked about at the beginning. I loved it. And what about the running back from Boise State for the Cowboys? Yeah, we talked about both of them. I think in the perfect storm, Deion Sanders would be a great coach for the Cowboys. Freddie might disagree with me, Freddie Morales, but I think he has the cachet to where Jerry would probably give him some respect. He would probably listen to him to a certain degree. He would probably let Deion pick his own staff because Deion's going to have to pick he'll have to pick an offensive coordinator. And I'm just telling you, Jerry Jones, for as much money as this franchise has, Jerry Jones has some of the lowest paid coaches in the league. That's another thing that shows you that Jerry doesn't understand winning. You should be paying great coaches to come to your team and coach. Why in the world are you paying your coaches bottom dollar? If I got a franchise like the Cowboys, I want the best coaches available, and I'm not sparing no expense. There's no salary cap on coaching. Is it about winning or is it about business? If it's about business, I'll try to get the lower tiered coaches. If it's about winning, we're the best coaches in the league. Where are they? I'm getting them all. Because if you're going to get Deion Sanders, anybody knows what Deion Sanders does? Deion Sanders tries to surround himself with the best coaches he can afford. That's why he's bringing in NFL players. He's got Warren Sapp over there. It's made a huge difference. He got guys like Terrell Owens hanging around. Ocho Cinco, I think they were Ocho Cinco was trying to get in. I mean, there are always people around the program. The Cowboys could really do themselves a favor if they took the Deion concept and brought it to the Cowboys. See, me, I'd bring in a coach like a Troy Aikman. I'd bring in a coach like a Michael Irvin. I'd bring in a coach who I know that's got the cachet to stand up to Jerry and going to do what's right. I would bring in a coach that would say, now I need you to get me these top offensive coordinator, top defensive coordinator. I want top position coaches. I want the top everything around me so we can really win. I'd have these former players. Hey, guys, can you come hang around the facility in training camp? Can you hang around the facility sometime during the season? I would literally create this atmosphere. Have y'all noticed what Deion does? Let me tell you why these players at Colorado, why they play like they do. Y'all might not realize it, but Deion Sanders has almost created the 92, 93, 94, 95 Cowboys. They partied hard and they played hard. They partied hard and they won. They partied hard, but they took a lot of pride in winning. You ever notice all the stars that are always hanging around the Colorado sideline? I don't know about you, but if I'm a young kid and I'm playing on a team and I know there's a chance that Cam Newton's going to be on the sideline. There's a chance that Terrell Owens is going to be on the sideline this weekend. There's a chance, I don't know who, some famous football player, some famous personality going to be on the sideline. How you think I'm going to play? Man, I'm going to tell you, I'm about to play out them cleats. I'm about to play out those cleats, y'all. And let's just keep it 100. You know, you got to understand. And when you're playing on Colorado, could you imagine all the young girls that want to talk to these Colorado kids? It's a part of sports. It is. I'm sorry. I am playing out of my mind for the Colorado Buffaloes. I am. If Jerry Jones could bring that mentality. I'm not talking about the partying of the 92 to 95 Cowboys. I'm talking about you always have Hall of Famers hanging around your program. I would literally be asking guys. You can't get the Troy Aikmans. He's in the booth. You know, Michael Irvin, they do certain things. I would literally be asking the Emmitt Smiths. Hey, man, Darren Woodson's. I'd be asking these guys. Roger Staubach, some of those guys from the Staubach teams, guys from the Aikman teams, if they didn't have anything to do, hey, man, can y'all come to the game? I want some of y'all to be on the sideline. I'd have them in practices. Come to the practices. I would create a winning atmosphere of legends being around my program. And I would bring in legendary coaches. I would. I don't understand why Jerry don't take advantage of this. This doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And I'm definitely getting Ashton Genty if he's on that board. I think it's going to be hard, but if he's on that board, I'm getting him. Yeah, I'm agreeing with you, Andre. I don't think he's going to come. We need to speed our draft capital on the middle of the D line. Yeah, they need to try to settle that once and for all. I think you keep Mozzie, but I think you need somebody else to go with Mozzie. There's not enough spotlight for Jerry and Deion. Oh, wait, maybe that is why he is not putting up curtains in the stadium. Man. Woo, boy. Man. And boy, could you imagine Jerry, Deion, and Shedeur? Man, they would outshine the sun. They would literally outshine the sun. Deion Sanders is dedicated to Colorado. I tell you, I think he is, but you start talking all that money. Woo, man. Deion and Michael would collide. Man. Michael Irvin as a coach, I would love that. Me too. I would. I'd love him as a coach. Because that would force Jerry to get an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator. See, we have to understand, Jerry saves money by doing what he's doing. Head coach and play caller. Mike McCarthy's stupid. You ain't giving me the plays and not giving me a raise. I don't want to call plays. You paying me to coach the team. I'm going to coach the team. Mike getting exactly what he deserved. He weaseled his way into the play calling. Now he getting it, and he's getting criticized for the very thing he wanted. Yeah, Aikman, they'd have to pay him some money, man. I think he's getting paid, $18 million a year? They ain't getting him. Deion said he wasn't leaving Jackson State, and he did. Money talks. Well, you know what? They're going to have to really pay him to leave Colorado. They are going to have to really pay him. And I don't think the NFL is the danger for Colorado as far as somebody coming and snatching Deion Sanders. I don't think the NFL is the issue. I think the college game, see, they're willing to pay coaches. I think the college game is the problem they have. Boy, Skip Bayless out there shaming himself. That's what Deion is doing, and the rest of the world hates him for being him. I'm telling you, man, I'd create an atmosphere around my team, not exactly like Deion, but I would create an atmosphere around my team that I would always be asking legendary football players to hang around. I would. I'd be asking legendary football players to hang around. Legendary players from my team. Can you come to the game today? You know, maybe I'd let them give the pep talk for the day. I would. Rather than Jerry always getting in the, no, I'd let somebody, hey man, hey Deion, because we're not gonna get him as a coach. Hey Deion, come do the pep talk this week. Mike, come in the locker room, do the pep talk. We're not gonna put it on the screen. We want you to do it in the locker room. Ashton and Stephon Diggs, man, please don't speak that into existence. Stephon Diggs on the Cowboys. Stephon Diggs off the field stuff is too much, man. I mean, they telling horror stories about this man. Nah, I don't want him on the team. But that Ashton Genty dude, man, I just don't think he's going to be on the draft board unless we find a way to weasel our way into the top 5. How would you feel about bringing Zim back as your D? Nope. I like Zim. I'll be honest with you. I like Dan Quinn's style of defense better than I like Mike Zim's. But the only problem with Dan Quinn's defense, you have to make sure you give him, you got to give him the players. You have to give him the players, because if you don't, Quinn has a problem. He can't stop the run. Zim can stop the run, but we're kind of seeing where maybe Zim can't stop the pass, because Zim is getting passed all over. He's done a great job of stopping the last two running backs. Jalen Hurts gave him fits, and they can't stop the pass. Because in order to stop the run, if you'll notice what he did, he went single high safety. Well, if that's how you're going to stop the run, all the good quarterbacks going to beat you. So, I don't know about him. Shedeur, the second coming to RG3. Freddie, hold on a second. I'm going to tell you why I'm not going to give you that. Does anybody not realize how fast RG3 was? Shedeur Sanders is not fast. People might not want to admit this. Shedeur Sanders is actually a Dak Prescott type quarterback. And I will give him this just early on looking at him. He has a little bit better anticipation of his throws. He's a little bit better at that. His timing on his throws, it's a little bit better. But if you look at him play, he's not that fast. RG3 was a burner. RG3 was an absolute burner. You couldn't give RG3 just a little bit of daylight. RG3 was going to the crib on you. There was nothing you could do. He was going to the crib. He was that fast. Track speed fast. Shedeur's not fast. And I got news for folk. Shedeur Sanders is not going to be a running quarterback in this league. Anybody that thinks that the Shedeur Sanders is going to be a running quarterback in this league, you might as well not even mess with Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders is not going to be a running quarterback in this league. He's not fast enough. He's nowhere near fast enough. You just watch him. Some of those games, it look like he's running in mud. He's not fast. And he's not going to play that type of game. Whoever gets Shedeur Sanders, understand, you better put some weapons around him because he has a nice arm. Looking at him versus Dak when Dak first came out, I think he's a little bit more skillful in the passing game, where Dak coming out was a little bit more skillful in the running game. Dak was a terror when he came into the league. He's bigger than Shedeur. Just looking at him, I think Dak was bigger than Shedeur coming in. I mean, Dak was a menace when he came in this league, y'all. The guy who tackled Dak, and the reason why he did that tackle on Dak is because a lot of these cornerbacks were saying before that injury, you didn't want to see Dak Prescott running. He was too hard to bring down. A lot of them were saying that. Even linebackers were saying when they saw Dak in person, they were like, wow, this guy's bigger than what we thought. That was being said a lot. Dak's a big dude. He slimmed down some now as far as body fat wise, but Dak's a big dude. And so cornerbacks didn't want to see Dak coming. So Shedeur, whether people realize it or not, and I know some people won't like that comparison, but I'm telling you, he's more of a Dak Prescott style of quarterback. And Shedeur Sanders, he's not the runner that Dak was when he came in. Dak wasn't the thrower that Shedeur is when Shedeur is going to come in. So they kind of equal out. So whoever gets Shedeur Sanders, recognize you're not getting a running quarterback by any stretch of the imagination. By any stretch. Can he scramble a little bit? Yes, but watch what's going to happen. When he gets in the pros with those faster linemen, those faster linebackers, you're going to see it's going to look even worse. Shedeur Sanders is a pure quarterback in every sense of the word. Pure drop back quarterback. He is. Drop back, shotgun, maybe some rollouts. That's Shedeur. He can get you some when you need him. Not as skillful even as a Patrick Mahomes. He can get you some when you need him. But if you're going to rely on that being a part of his game, you better leave Shedeur in the draft. You better leave him in the draft. Florida State blew their chance with Deion. What's going on, Greg? We about to get off of here. People that say they will never do something, they did turn around and do it, are nothing but weak fools, and they don't have the guts to stand behind what they say. I think Deion with the Jackson State thing, that was really some issues going on with money, and Deion said no. Lewis said no to Zimmer, me too. DQ is bad against physical teams. Yep, because he likes smaller teams. But I do like his style of defense better. But I think it's also predicated on you better get him the style of team he had in Seattle. Dan likes linebackers. You got to get him something that, because of the style he plays, you better have some show enough linebackers that can show up the run, because if not, it's over. It's over. DQ will let you down. RG3 was fast until his knees rammed. Yep. Boy, I'm telling you, RG3, track speed on that field, man. Boy, he put a game up on the Cowboys. I think it was on Thanksgiving Day. Woo! Boy, that boy's a track speed runner back in the day. Sleeveless. Jose Corvetto says sleeveless Dak was different. Man, when Dak came in this league, them linebackers, them quarterbacks were saying it. They said, hey, man. They said you didn't want to see Dak Prescott coming. And Dak knew you didn't want to see him coming. That's why that kid who tackled him, he did that drop hip tackle on him, because there was no other way to get him down. You could not tackle Dak Prescott straight up as a cornerback. I still hate that tackle. I think it should be outlawed in the league. He looks like he runs in slow motion. And Shedeur looks like that now. And he'll look even more like that once you put him in the pros, because everybody's going to be faster. Zim has had half a team all year. Hey, Spider-Man. Now, you know me. I've been saying all year, Zim been doing more with less. He has. And Zim, what's really has let him down, and I don't think it's him. He made that clear. It's his players. Trayvon Diggs is just playing bad. Trayvon Diggs is just playing bad, y'all. Kalen Carson, I think everybody's been saying out of Wake Forest, he just hasn't been playing up to expectation. So that's the issue with Kalen Carson. But you know what? Hey, I wouldn't cry if they brought Zim back, but I don't think they're going to bring Zim back. I think who they're going to have as the defensive coordinator, Spider-Man, they're going to interview Al Harris as the coach, as a head coach. But we all know that's not going to happen. They're going to interview him as the head coach, and then he's going to probably be the defensive coordinator. And I hope that he makes a name for himself as the defense coordinator, and then he don't last on the Cowboys no more than 1 year, maybe 2. If he's good, I want him to last maybe 3. But if he's really good, he ain't going to last 1. I mean, some team's going to come get him. I think Al Harris deserves a chance in this league. And I think Jerry is going to give him that chance. And I think he's going to be the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. And he's probably going to do well, and he won't last a year. But who knows? Maybe if Jerry keep paying him, if he does really well, maybe we'll keep him 3. We need a quarterback and a running back. Dak is not irreplaceable. No, Joseph, Dak is irreplaceable. His contract makes him irreplaceable. And that's the one thing we have to understand. This is a business. This isn't just football. It's a business. Dak is irreplaceable. And when they went and looked, these guys aren't dumb. When these guys went and looked at what's coming out in the draft and where they were going to be in the draft. See, we keep, and I don't want to say this in the wrong way, but I'm saying we keep talking emotionally. But you have to understand, these guys are looking at this thing from every angle. What is life like without Dak? Well, we're seeing part of that right now. There's nobody on the team that can replace Dak. So number 2, what's in the draft and what is our best case scenario? What is our highest position? What is our highest position? They obviously even considered this. I mean, they're obviously considering this before they signed Dak Prescott. Because Jerry Jones knew this team wasn't going to be good. Jerry is a liar if he's telling you he thought it was going to be anything more than 10-7, 9-8. I thought they were going to be able to overcome some things, but with Mike McCarthy reverting back to 30 years ago West Coast offense, this team was doomed from the beginning. And then the injuries started sinking in. But before they signed Dak Prescott, these are the things you're looking at. I'm looking at how good is Dak Prescott right now. Well, last year, runner-up, MVP, second-team All-Pro. We know what Dak is. You give Dak a running game, Dak is, Colin Cowherd said it best, Dak with a running game is Patrick Mahomes. I think the Cowboys are going to get him a running game. But you're looking at this. How good is Dak right now? If we let Dak walk, where will he go? You think that don't matter? It does. When teams let go of players, they want to know where they're going. Because the one thing you didn't want them to do is wind up in your division. You didn't want Dan Quinn getting him. You didn't want Dan Quinn getting him. Once you get past the Dan Quinn issue, you don't want the New York Giants getting him. You didn't want even a team like the San Francisco 49ers. I'm telling you, they'd be in the running. The Rams would have been in the running. So you're going to let Dak go into another team, and then they put players around him, then he'd be a menace for you. And then, irony, Dak stops you from getting to the Super Bowl. Number 3, where are we drafting in the draft? They know they're probably at that time we're not going to be anywhere more than the mids, somewhere around 15 to 10. Okay, who are the quarterbacks we think will be available by then? Will they be better than Dak Prescott based on what we want to do in the next 4 years? All of these things are coming into the equation, all of them. And then number 5, well, we already signed Dak Prescott to a contract, and he's already got a headlock on us. We're going to take a $90 million cap hit. We're going to take 45 right now, and then we're going to take another 45 to 50 on the next year. So with all of that stew in there, is Dak replaceable? And I think if you're being honest with yourself, Dak was not replaceable. He was not replaceable. He just wasn't replaceable. He wasn't. I think they made the right move with Dak at the quarterback position. Keith Rivera, it's illegal, but I've seen a couple of guys doing it. They hadn't called it. Carson was in training camp daring, but opposing teams did not get the memo. Yeah, exactly. Boy, they were talking Kalen Carson up. Oh, he picked off Dak Prescott. Oh, man, Kalen Carson. Philadelphia Eagles said, hey, where Kalen Carson at? Where Kalen Carson at? Man, boy, they went up to Kalen Carson on such a deal. But I tell you this, I'm going to keep him out there. Let him keep getting burned. Because if he's going to be the cornerback on this team, he's going to have to learn. Jerry Jones is not going to hire a black head coach. I said it earlier. I still think Deion, he would do it. I think he would do it. Jerry has been on it for the past 29 years and haven't hired a black head coach. Well, a lot of people say he wasn't going to have a black quarterback, and he wound up getting Dak Prescott, and he got Quincy Carter. So, I don't know. We need to surround Dak with a running back and weapons. Lewis, everybody else is doing it. It's strange to me every other team is doing this but the Dallas Cowboys. Kansas City Chiefs did it. Philadelphia Eagles did it. Miami Dolphins did it. Detroit Lions. You can go down the line. When the Baltimore Ravens go get Derrick Henry, it tells you everything you need to know. It tells you everything you need to know when the Baltimore Ravens went and got Derrick Henry. They needed a running game other than Lamar Jackson if they're going to get to the Super Bowl. They went and got Derrick Henry. Everybody knows this. We're the only ones that don't understand that. If the Cowboys wanted to really win, they would find a creative way like putting Trayvon Diggs a wide receiver. Diggs can play receiver. He can. Drafting Shedeur would be a wasted pick because the team needs a running back and a wide receiver and an OG offensive guard, defensive nose tackle to plug in the middle and align another. Yeah, and that's really my concern about Shedeur. I just wonder if Shedeur is going to look the same when he comes to the pros because I just don't. He's not going to have all of the things that he's had around him. At Colorado, he's just not going to have those things. So we're really about to get a test of Deion Sanders and Shedeur Sanders. And for what my understanding is, Shedeur has convinced a top 5 recruit. Shedeur convinced him to come to come to the Colorado Buffaloes. Let me see if I can find it. I was looking, I think I saw it on yep. Some of you guys probably know I do not follow college football, but I'm pretty sure some of you guys, you watch college football and you probably know who this is, and then we're going to get out of here. Shedeur Sanders influenced quarterback Julian Lewis to choose Colorado over Indiana. If that don't tell you something, you do not convince the top recruit in college football. You don't convince a five-star quarterback. You don't convince a five-star quarterback to come to your program, and your dad is leaving. I'm sure Deion Sanders has basically told. I'm sure Deion has told his sons that he's staying. I'm sure he's told his sons he's staying in college football. I'm sure he's told them. I'm sure they're already having this conversation about what's life going to look like with him not being with him not being their coach for the first time in years. And from what my understanding is right here, he's already been flipped. Five-star quarterback Julian Lewis to flip from USC to Colorado. I mean, I don't know a lot about this kid, but obviously he's the top in the country. He's one of the top quarterbacks in the country. 6'1", okay, from my area. 6'1", 185-pound senior, Carrollton High School, thrown for 2,500 yards, 36 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Louis Trojans finished their regular season 10-0 and now preparing for the Georgia 6A state tournament. He's obviously a beast. And so I just don't think Shedeur Sanders is going to go and flip this quarterback to come to Colorado, and his dad gonna go and coach his dad gonna go coach in the pros. I think it's a done deal. Deion is not coming to the Cowboys, and I wish people. I mean, I don't know. I can't say I wish they stopped the talk. I mean, they can do what they want to do, but it's just wishful thinking or something. It's just not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. Detroit got two of them. Them boys had Thanksgiving dinner early in Dallas. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Appreciate everybody tuning in. If I do come back this afternoon, if I come back this evening, it's going to be extremely late. Got a lot of things to do today, but I don't mind talking Cowboys with Cowboy fans. So after everybody go to sleep tonight at my house, I may test the waters and see what everybody look like. Keith Rivera said Jerry Jones is worth $10 billion and still shopping at Family Dollar General. No doubt. The recruiting is why Deion wants people to stop the cowboy talk. Powerful answer, Lewis. Makes a lot of sense. Because if you recruited me and you're talking about you're going to coach pro football, I'm not coming to your team. I'm just not doing it. Makes sense. Appreciate you, Jose. You know it, Spider-Man. You know it. I'm teaching on the Gospel of John, so that's where I'll be. So again, you like this, please like, share, subscribe, and please don't forget to like this video on your way out. Subscribe if you haven't. Hit that notification bell so you know the next time when we post another video. Let's talk Cowboys, but we talk facts. Peace.